Last panel here in the toolbox is transform. We have few options here. Let's create a few elements first. Okay, so if you want to move one of those elements or multiple items, you can select them and then click on this move tool, and Moy will ask you to pick base point. Let's turn on object snap. I can pick this point anywhere in my scene. I can use points on those selected elements, or I can use, let's say, this origin point and then move from that point. And I can snap like this. So you need to define base point. Let's pick it here, and then you can move from that specific point. And if you want to use points on those elements, you don't need to use this move tool. You can just click, let's say, on this corner, and then you can snap to that corner. Or you can use this midpoint here and then snap to that midpoint, or any other point on those faces like this. So that's how you use move command. Next option here is copy. It works in same way like move, but every time you click, let's pick a base point here. So anytime I click now, Moy will create a copy of those elements. So I can create multiple copies really fast. So that's copy command. Let's go back. Next tool here is rotate. We have two options, rotate and rotate axis. With first one, you need to define center of rotation. Let's pick it here in this endpoint, and then pick first reference point. Let's pick it here, and now you can rotate just by moving your mouse around. And you can go to those viewports if you want to rotate from those orthographic views. You need to click on rotate, pick center of rotation. You can use any point. Let's use this center point of this face. Click to define this reference point, and then you can move like this from this reference point. So that's how you use simple rotate. But with simple rotate, you can only rotate in horizontal way in this 3D viewport. So if you try to, let's say, define point here and here, Moy will always project that down into grid. So you can only rotate in horizontal way. If you want to rotate over specific axis, you need to use this second option, rotate axis. You need to define start and end point of rotation axis. So if you click here and here, and let's use reference point here, you can rotate over this diagonal line like this. And you can use any 2 points. You can use one here and here, pick this reference point like this, and you can rotate over that edge. Or you can use this edge here and do the same stuff. So that's how you use this second option. With scale tool, you have 3 options. Let's create another box. So if you go to scale, I have those 3: scale, scale 2D, and scale 1D. With first one, you can scale uniformly. So you need to pick origin point, let's say here, pick reference point like this, and then if I slide, I can scale uniformly towards this origin point. But if I pick this point, let's say in the center point, and then reference point here, I can scale to that specific point. But if you want to scale only in 2 dimensions, you can use this scale 2D, and let's do the same stuff like this. So now if I scale, Moy will scale only in X and Y directions. The Z direction will be intact. And you have also scale 1D. With that one, you need to pick origin point again, and then this reference point, and you can scale only in this vertical way, or you can pick one here, and you can scale horizontally. And also you can go, let's say, diagonally and create deformation like this. So that's how you use those scaling options. Next option here is mirror. You need to select your item, go to mirror tool, and then Moy will ask you to pick start point. Let's pick it here, and then I can slide like this to preview this effect. I just need to click second time, and Moy will create this mirror copy of this box. So you need to select your items, click on mirror, and then pick start point, scale like this, rotate like this. Let's use straight snap. I want to snap the second point to this guideline, and then click, and Moy will create those 2 copies. Super simple. Next option is this array. tool. With that one you have 4 commands: grid, directional, circular, and curve array. With this first grid array, you need to define number of items in each row. So you have, let's say, 4 items in X direction, 9 items in Y direction, and let's go with 2 items in Z direction. So if I hit done, I can define X and Y spacing between those 2 items. I can type numbers here, or I can pick, let's say, this corner and then slide like this to create those 2 values. Click second time, and then I need to extrude this height. Click third time, and Moy will create this grid. So again, I need to select this item, go to array, click on this grid array, define number of items in each row, hit done, and I need to define the spacing like this, and then I can go up to define this Z spacing. If I click, Moy will create this grid array. So that's first option. Second option is a directional array. With that one you have 3 modes, sorry. First one is called offset count. With that one you need to define a number of items first. Let's go with 8 items, hit OK. Pick base point, let's pick it here, and then I can slide like this to preview this array. And with this first option I need to define distance between first 2 items, and Moy will create rest of this array. But if I use second option, which is called extend count, in this case I can define first point and then slide like this, and with second point I will define this end point, and Moy will create all those items in between this first and last item. So this is a different approach. And with third command, which is called offset extend, you need to click to define base point, and then I can move to define distance between this first element like this. And now if I go in this direction, I can slide on this guideline, and every time I cover this distance, Moy will add 1 more element. If I go in opposite direction like this, Moy will add more items in between. So I can go in this direction or that. And here you don't need to specify number of items. You can define that number by covering that distance in the length you wish. So that's how you use directional array option. Let's move this thing a bit here. Next option here is a circular array. You need to pick center point. Let's pick it here. And this is the effect. You have few options here. You can specify number of items. Let's go with 30. Okay. You can create this vertical step. Let's go with 1 millimeter, like this. Also you have this radial step. You can go away from center. Each time Moy copy this item, it will move it 1 millimeter away from this center. You can define, let's say, 100 items, and then let's cover this. Let's use bigger angle to fill. Let's go with 1400 like this. So you can create this twister effect if you want. So that's how you use a circular array. You can be really crazy with that one. And the last option here is curve array. With that one you need to have 1 curve. So let's create one really fast. Let's align this here. So now if I select this box and hit this curve array, Moy will ask me to select path curve. I can use this one, and I have this as a result. So Moy will copy this box along this curve. I have few options here. I can define number of items here. Let's go with 20. Or you can define that number with this distance parameter. Let's go with 5 millimeters. Rotation, if you go with this freeform option, Moy will rotate this box toward normals of this curve. But if you go with none, you can go flat. If you go from top view, you see that this box will not rotate, it will go flat on this curve. but I almost always use this freeform mode. You have this flat mode also, but this will do the same stuff like this freeform. Align to surface is cool if you want to align all those elements to a specific surface. Let's create one really fast. I will copy this curve and move it like this, and let's do one line here, and I want to move this point, okay, something like this. So now I can use this curve as a profile and this as a rail with sweep command. Let's go to sweep. You need to select profiles. Let's use this one. Hit done. Select rails. Let's use this one and this one. Hit done, and you have this surface as a result. Let's hit done to finish. And now I can do the same stuff like before. Let's go to array, curve array. Select this object. Hit done. Select path curve. Let's use this as a path, and now I can select this option align to surface. I need to select this surface, and Moy will align all those items to this surface, so you have this as a result.